What's going on, world? It's your boy, Kuya P. This is the NRW, where nerds rule the world. Today, as you can see from my backdrop and the thumbnail that you just clicked on, we're talking dwellings with writer-creator Jay Stevens. Jay, thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Hey, you're awesome. I appreciate you. I have to tell you, when the information came about this, dwellings now being collected with Oni Press, Lion Forge, to be out there for the people, it was in separate issues, as you know. You know, this is your book, and now it's collected all in one for everybody that might have slept on it. They shouldn't sleep on it. I was excited to see this because this brought me back, and I'm sure it brought you back as well, because it's such a
very much so.
I remember growing up in Maine years ago. I'm an 80s baby, and I would go to the barber shop, and the only comics that they would have while I'm sitting there waiting to get my hair cut was Archie and Harvey. And I was hoping for Marvel, but I guess the kids stole the Marvel comic book, so all that was left was Archie and Harvey. And I was like, man, that's not cool. The 80s time period, that's not cool. I don't want to check it out. But then after a while, you get bored and you pick it up and you're like, oh, wow, Casper the Friendly Ghost. Some of the inspirations that I believe when I was reading how this kind of came together for you as a young kid in Canada, I was like, oh, man, I feel this guy. And so having checked out a little bit of Dwellings, I'm like, okay, this guy is probably, grew up the same time period as me, 80s baby.
Absolutely.
And just was all about it. So I just love this nostalgic style. And if those that haven't connected to Dwellings before, I'm going to be telling the whole world about Dwellings now, because this is good stuff. So, so can you tell me?
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. It's a nostalgia trip. And I mean, in some way, all of us that are comics fans and collectors are cursed with nostalgia. It's not always such a good thing to be looking backwards, right? And nostalgia can be kind of a curse. So that's kind of where I was going with this idea. And yeah, I read those comics when I was young too. The writing doesn't hold up there. I love some of the artwork, like Howie posts hot stuff. A Little Devil is beautifully done. Warren Kramer's work on Casper, like, it looks great. Stories are pretty light, but how weird was it that we're kids reading cute, friendly comics about a dead kid and a devil?
So true, right? It's weird when you look back at the optics now.
And so in my mind, I was like, ever since I was a kid, I was like, I'm kind of curious about the gruesome backstories here. And that was part of the inspiration for Dwellings, for sure, was this idea that what if something looked that cute, but there was something darker to it?
So good. So if we could still stay on the light bulb moments of deciding to put this together, and also from just reading it and looking at it, this is made by a guy who loves comics, because you literally redid the ads and everything, and then even your intro into this collected version. There's this whole mythology. I'm curious of the light bulb moments of okay, I want to put pen to pad or fingers to keyboard and create this universe and this whole just idea, and just what kind of research and what kind of work that pre-pro to make this reality. So if we can take me back to those light bulb moments. I know you've done Emmy Award-winning stuff, and just all the work that came into this.
But I think maybe part of what you're seeing in the work here is that I took a long break from comics. I started in comics back in the 90s when I was pretty young, when I was a teenager, and then kind of moved on into animation and did other things for a while. So this is my first time back with a new project. And honestly, I think a lot of the enthusiasm that's in the work is just pent up. It's just all those years of wanting to get back to making comics and wanting to make the best comic I can make. So that's definitely in there. The idea with following through on the nostalgia, that the original issues of Dwellings were meant to look like flea market finds, like you find these at a yard sale or something. They're kind of beaten up, they're dog-eared, the colors are a bit faded. And so the ads had to be in there to make it feel right, to ring that nostalgic bell. But I was like, okay, if I'm going to have ads, let's use them as tension breaks for the horror, so time them right and have the ads refer to the story. So the ads, for the first time, as far as I know, in a comic book, there's ads that are actually part of the story as opposed to just interrupting it.
It's brilliant. Again, as a nerd comic lover, this is totally up my alley. And again, I can't wait for all my friends to check this out if they hadn't already. And actually, that actually brought a question to mind when I was thinking about this and talking to you. When you envision this and you put it out as single issues, right? And
Originally.
now, as creatives now we have to think when it gets collected, we have a vision of how we want it to read and how the readers go from moment to book to book. What was your ideas when this came together with Oni as a collected to kind of give you that, you know what I'm saying, that
Yeah,
adventure of reading when we were floppy guys?
right. It's interesting because like I said, we did the first issue of Dwellings was a standalone story because we weren't sure if it was going to fly. So this is small press. This is with my friend Michelle Vran of Black Eye Books, and he and I just did it as a kind of test to see, just for fun. We were in lockdown. We needed something to do, and I had this idea. So we put out that first one, and it was successful enough that we decided we should do more. And that's when I decided that first run was going to be 6 short stories. That's what I was going to commit to. So it was conceived as individual issues that were supposed to kind of be reminiscent of vintage floppies. So that's the first version. And then when Oni generously offered to kind of bring it to a wider audience, because this was just a fun small press local thing we did, then it got a second life as like double-sized issues, right? So 3 double-sized issues, which were kind of like the Harvey giant-sized comics back in the day too. So now we're doing it differently all over again. And that's when the idea for these collections started, where I'm like, okay, well, I've already done these versions where it's almost like you found them, like at your doctor's or dentist's side table. So if we're doing it again, the only Lineforge version is like, what if you'd rediscover these comics and you're doing a prestige reprinting of them? So that's kind of the design mentality for the Oni version.
I love it. And it's so cool. So cool. I love that. That's just in the forefront as a creative and its presentation. That's beautiful. So the actual stories itself, again, you created like this whole mythology, just some of the inspirations, just maybe things that didn't work with other projects. Cause you're a full blown creative with, you do animation, you do everything. Probably narrowing down the stories that you wanted to tell for this. How did those ideas come to mind? And then also doing this style as well.
Yeah, well, I would say write what you know, but I don't actually know any murderers. But honestly, I mean, 50% of it is my passion for the look of those old Harveys and that fascination with the macabre Harvey comics. Not so much the Richie Rich, but the Wendy the Good Little Witch Casper the Friendly Ghost stuff. So that's in the mix. The other part is just kind of small town Ontario, where I've always grown up. Like these towns have dirty secrets, like there's all kinds of, I've moved a few times, and you come to a new town and it seems all like sweet, nice, bridges over rivers, nice old trees, old buildings, sweet little mill towns. And then it only takes a couple of weeks before people start telling you the ghost stories, and like, oh, that place over here, that's where that guy killed all those people, and so that idea that every small city, big town, has 100 years worth of murders hiding under the surface is kind of part of the inspiration as well. So that idea, like, I love the idea of a haunted place, right? Like Stephen King's Derry, or like Twin Peaks, or all these or Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Sunnydale. This idea that there can be a place that's just surrounded by years of terror. And I've been a big horror fan for years. So this is the thing, is that first issue was really just a quick mashup of 2 ideas that I didn't know could go together. And just decided to give it a shot, and it seems to work pretty well.
I love it. Caw. So good. Yeah. When I was telling you I lived in Maine, I lived not too far from Stephen King's house. And as a kid, they're like, you should go buy his house and all of that. So yeah, those New England states kind of half scare me. I now live in the DC area, but yeah, when I travel up New England, woo, kind of weird.
Yeah, and it's a similar vibe. Like Southern Ontario is kind of like we're sticking down between the Great Lakes here too, and it's got similar kind of terrain, similar kind of feel. you know, and yeah, it's just inherently creepy sometimes.
I love it. With the success of Dwellings, it's now going to reach an even wider audience through Oni Press. But people know you from animation as well. You have, such a resume. I'm curious, and I'm sure the fans that have been reading Dwellings are curious. What's up with Dwellings is like in animation? Like, can you talk to some studio heads? Because I would love to see it,
It's entirely possible that those discussions are already underway.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So exciting. So exciting. Yeah, this is great material. I'm like halfway through this new collected version, and I can't wait to read more. I love the combination of this art that just takes me back, this nostalgia trip. But just the storytelling is just insanely good, Jay.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to have it all in one place too, because the Oni books also surprisingly sold out fast. Like we had to keep reprinting. So I know there's some people out there that couldn't get their hands on all 3 issues. So it's I'm happy to have it in one nice volume now. So it's a one-stop read, and I can't wait to hear what people think. I know there are some people that still haven't read it, and I wonder, like I keep doubting that this is going to work, but no, it's such a weird concept. But I think the cute creepiness is getting through to people.
So is there an additional promo trip or plan with Comic-Cons coming up? We have San Diego Comic-Con. This is now releasing. Can fans expect to hopefully see you at some shows coming up soon?
There's 2 shows for sure I'm going to be at. So next week, the Toronto Comics Arts Festival, TCAF, is on. So I will be there. And then I will be with Oni in San Diego this year. So
awesome.
I will be at Comic-Con. So hope to see you all there. Definitely.
I'm hoping to be there as well. I got another project that's working its way. Jay, this is amazing. Again, as a comics fan, this is the type of stuff like you hope your friends would suggest to you to recommend when you love comics. And bravo, sir. I got to tell you, I'm having such a fun time with this, and I'm hoping for this animation. And is there also word of maybe a volume 2? Do you have time to give us some more Dwellings as well? Has that been talked about at all?
The Dwelling stories take a while to cook up because they are rather elaborate and strange, and I'm trying to do at least some twists on horror that haven't been done before. So take a minute, but there will be more. I'm
excited. Can we also maybe promote anything else you have outside of Dwellings that you may want to shine a light on as well, beyond this?
Yeah, sure. I'm in the middle of a series of books for the new Gold Key comics. Over here it's up on the wall here, but it's a new book, a new series that's all ages, a little break from horror. It's still creepy in places, called Figgy Furthermore, the Spirit Guide Dog. So another kind of Casper riff, but this one's a little less. It's a lot less gory. It's an all ages project, so that's coming out soon too in the summer. So lots going on, and Oni has brought back. Speaking of resurrecting old brands and old comics ideas, they brought back EC Comics. So I am doing variant covers and some scripts for that as well.
That's exciting. I love it. I love it. This is awesome. This is such a great time period of comics with just all the different things that are happening. I love when we can also go back. I love the new ideas, but just also there's something special about projects like this. Jay, truly a pleasure to chat with you, sir. Hope to see you in San Diego.
Thank
everybody.
You so much.
Dwellings collected edition from Oni Press drops on May 7th. Go check it out. You're going to be speechless like I am, trying to put together your words as you're talking to amazing cats like Jay Stevens. So inspiring. So thank you for this energy exchange, this inspiration exchange from creative. I just love this. Bravo, sir.
Thanks for the chat. This is great.
Definitely. Everybody, Jay Stevens, Dwellings, May 7th, Oni Press. It's your boy, Kuya P. Nerds rule the world.
I'm cartoonist Jay Stevens, and I came to warn you that my cute as hell horror series Dwellings has returned and is now available as double-sized prestige format versions from Oni Press, wherever comics are sold. The nightmarish occurrences taking place in the southern Ontario town of Elwich are invocations of my childhood fears, like if Stephen King wrote an issue of Casper the Friendly Ghost that took place in Derry, Maine in 1972, or if The Exorcist were drawn in the style of Hot Stuff the Little Devil. Oh, it's weird, believe me, I know, but the critics think it's working. Are you into psychological horror films and vintage Saturday morning cartoons? What if I told you there's a way to have them both at the same time? You probably thought all the folks who drew comics by hand the old-fashioned way were dead and buried, didn't you? Dwellings is crafted to recapture a vintage, nostalgic feel, a familiar, comforting appearance that makes the visceral shocks hit all the harder, like if you found an old kid's comic at the back of an antique shop and it unexpectedly revealed some darker, horrible truth. Thank you for the support of all the original dwellers who have backed this strange experiment from the beginning, and a big bone-chilling welcome to all the new eyeballs. But hurry, as Dwellings #1 from Oni Press is proving hard to keep in stock.